We're going to present you our Proyecto Integrador. So, well, to begin, I'm going to start with an introduction. When studying a new language, it's highly recommendable to consider the theory alongside with the practice. Why? The theory is the foundation to moderate the usage of the grammatical rules established by regulator language institutions, just like the Real Academia Española from the Spanish. Some languages have academies dedicated to keep the language as pure as possible, but in this case the English does not have one like this. So it is thought that the dictionaries fulfill this function, but this is a wrong conception. What dictionaries do is record the usage, not to dictate it. So not having an institution may be something good, and a lot of people think that this lack of the institution makes the English an international language. So various contemporaries linguistics have developed many works which let us study deeper in various levels of the tongue, which are its usage, its changes, and variations. Okay? In the same way, they had accomplished the recapitulation of grammar rules, and they adapted to the tongues, to the changes that the tongue suffers through the time. Our research is focused mainly in the study of the analysis of the passive voice in the English and in Spanish languages. This will be our first part of the presentation, and the second is about putting this knowledge into the practice based on the teaching proposal previously ruled by an educating psychology stream applied to a determined population, which is teenagers between the ages of 17 and 18 that are currently studying the last year of their high school. We hope that this project will help give a clear explanation of what is a passive voice, making comparisons between the two languages, also knowing how to do voice changes without losing the main context of the ideas, and also to make abstractions in order to teach this knowledge as near as possible. Well, finally, it's to improve the writing skills and also speech compositions. Ricardo is going to tell us about passive voice.
Well, first of all, what we did in our research was the active voice, which is basically what every language has this, and it's the doer is the main focus. And then we researched the passive voice, which is a grammatical category of a verb that focuses on the receiver, which is completely contrary to what active voice does. Unlike in Spanish, in English it is more common, passive voice, while speaking, but when it comes to writing, we don't usually write that much in passive voice. We use passive voice when we want to emphasize the action, or when it isn't important who does the action, or simply when we don't know who executes the action. It is considered that passive voice is more formal in English and also in Spanish. What we found in contrasting passive voice in English and in Spanish is that they have a lot of similarities, but they have some differences. In English, it is still called voice, passive voice, but in Spanish, it gets called construction, passive construction, and in English we found that it does not get called passive construction, just in Spanish. One of the main similarities we can find is that in both Spanish and English, we see the use of prepositions, which are by, which is for in Spanish, and with, which is con in Spanish. And in English, the main verb is used to be, and while in Spanish, it's the verb ser or estar. And now my teammate will continue with the psychological theories.
For the development of this project, we work with the cognitive stream, and the cognitive cognitive streams come from by three theories: the cognitivism by David Oldwell and Jerome Bruner, the genetic epistemical by Jean Piaget, and the sociocultural by Vygotsky. I'm going to speak about the cognitivism first. David Oldwell and Jerome Bruner based their theories on the Gestalt theory. This one is a theory when the idea has the figure and background idea, which is a perception phenomenon where, based on the learner experience, it can determine the relevant situation for the learner at the figure. In other words, the knowledge that is significant for the individual is considered the most important. With this, I want to say that the thing that is like significant for the learner is going to be the figure, because it's, how do I already say, it's significant, and it's the one that is, and the one that is not very significant is viewed as the background. And this is not a static process. The figure can turn into the background and vice versa. So if the knowledge that was significant loses its relevance and is assimilated in a satisfactory way, it becomes into the background. And going back to the theory from David Oldwell and Jerome Bruner, they created the first learning theory, and the principal preoccupations were what is learned and how do we learn. Although this is a really good theory, it wasn't chosen for the development of this project because our population is not exactly interested in the subject or in the knowledge about the passive voice. They are like most interested on passive subject, so the learning won't be significant. So if we use this theory for speech, the passive voice, the learner won't associate the significantly the knowledge with his or her previous knowledge. So the educative process will fail or not be as good as it's expected, even with potentially significant material. Well, the next theory that we're going to talk about is the one from JX.
Yes. The other part is about Piaget, as you can see. Why didn't we pick out this other theory? Okay, you know that this theory has a very powerful tool, which is the imbalance. It produces like sometimes that the student feel like insecure about himself or herself referring to the knowledge. So this tool helps us to make the student get interest in the class, to think, to work, to reach the balance again and feel stabilized. So, but I think that's like, well, we thought that it was just like the pink part. Why? Because not all the students are going to react in the same way to this imbalance. So they might get stressed or feel annoyed or afraid. That's why we decided to use another tool, which is the environment, to generate the needed interest in our students. Okay, that's when we connect this part to Vygotsky, which is the sociocultural theory. Okay.
The sociocultural theory is the one that we chose for the project. In this theory, Vygotsky presents ideas about the development and generation of new concepts based on the environment as a key for a successfully knowledge acquisition. The human being's development is attached intimately with his interaction with the social, historical, and cultural context. The experiences, sensations, and mainly personal experiences help the individual to get in touch with their reality, and it allows him or her to build himself or herself intellectually.
Okay. The individual has different ways to connect with their society, and one of those tools is language. So with language, everybody can produce and also understand different things or nothing. So that's why somebody can show something to new people or to the people that is around him or her, and that people can show something to that somebody. Now, the psychic development origins are with the communicational system in the connection that this person has with their collective activity. For Vygotsky, education is not only a way to reach the development for an individual, but also is a way to reach the development for the society. That's when we talk about the main concept that we want to apply to this class, which is the zone of proximal development. I know, this works like a bridge. We have the first part, the zone of real development. Then at the end, the zone of potential development, and in the middle, we have this very important. It is very important because it's related to education, and that's why we chose it. Then, okay, the objective for this is that the person or the student in this case get the abilities or be capable to do by himself or herself what they can't do or what they can do with the other people. I mean, if you, the student can do something with the help of others in the classroom, the main target is for him or her to do it by herself or himself. And you know what is involved: environment, social, history also, and culture. Okay.
Okay. To make it clearer, the zone of real development is known also as the things that the learner can do native, without any help. And then the zone of potential of proximal development are the things that the learner can do by himself or herself. And then the zone of potential development is the things that we can do as teachers and themselves as learners to, with the things that they can do native, we find a way to do the things that they cannot do. Okay, we're gonna pass to explain the activity with Lara and Ray.
Well, we're going to present an English class based on Vygotsky. And, well, before the class, the students already know everything about passive voice. And, well, then the teacher will ask them to select a TV show, a song, or book, film, magazine. And they're going to do some sentences related with this topic that they previously